Have you ever carried a pain so quietly that even the world around you didn't notice? A pain you hid behind your smile, behind your silence, behind the words, "I'm fine." But what if the pain you bury isn't meant to drown you, but to shape you? This is the story of a young man standing at the edge of his life, lost between who he was and who he could become. It's a story about wounds that whisper, hearts that break softly, and a truth that arrives like sunrise after a long, dark night. Stay with me, because this journey might help you understand your own heart in ways you never imagined. In a quiet valley, surrounded by tall cedar trees, lived a young man named Arham. To everyone in the village, he looked perfectly fine, calm, soft-spoken, and always helpful. But inside him lived a storm he never let anyone see. Years ago, Arham lost his father in a tragic landslide. Since that day, every small rumble of thunder, every crack of stone, made his heart tighten with a familiar dread. But he told no one. He didn't even admit it to himself. He believed that if he just ignored the pain, it would eventually fade away. But pain doesn't just fade. Pain waits. One evening, as Arham walked along a winding mountain trail, he met an old shepherd named Rashid. Rashid had kind eyes and a warm smile that seemed to understand things before you even spoke a word. "Your footsteps are heavy, my son," the old man said, his voice gentle. Arham looked away, his gaze fixed on the distant peaks. "I'm fine," he whispered, the lie feeling heavy on his tongue. Rashid tapped his staff gently against a large rock. "My sheep sometimes lie," he said with a knowing look, "but mountains don't. Your heart is carrying something heavier than this entire valley." Arham felt the truth of those words sting, but he remained silent, locked inside his own quiet prison. Rashid didn't press him. He simply said, "Walk with me. The mountain teaches those who are willing to listen." And so, without another word, began Arham's journey toward healing. As they climbed higher, dark clouds began to gather overhead. A deep rumble of thunder rolled through the valley, echoing off the canyon walls. Arham froze in his tracks, his breath catching in his throat, his body shaking. The storm he had suppressed for so long finally cracked open. Rashid placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. "Fear is not a weakness," he said softly. "It is simply the body remembering pain." In that moment, Arham realized he hadn't been running from the storms in the sky, but from the storm within himself. They soon reached a clearing where a massive tree lay on its side, split down the middle by a lightning strike. "Do you see this tree?" Rashid asked, his voice filled with a quiet wisdom. "It broke because it stood all alone against the storm." Arham knelt beside the fallen giant, tracing the jagged lines in the wood with his finger. For the first time, he allowed himself to speak the words he had buried for so long. He whispered, "I miss him, and I never got to say goodbye." As he spoke, quiet tears began to fall, not with sorrow, but with a sense of release. He finally understood. Hidden wounds don't disappear. They just grow deeper roots, holding you down. As the first light of sunrise painted the valley in shades of gold and rose, Rashid pointed toward the brightening sky. "Every night ends," he said, "even the ones that feel endless. Let the light in Arham. Your pain isn't just a burden. It's shaping the man you are becoming." For the first time in years, Arham didn't run from the feelings in his heart. He listened to them. And as he did, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders, a lightness he hadn't felt since he was a child. Arham returned to the village, a different person, with a gentler breath and a softer gaze. He started to speak about his fear, his loss, and his father. Not loudly or dramatically, but just honestly. And the pain that once controlled his every move transformed into the strength that now guided his every step. He learned that the very things you hide hold the power to heal you, but only when you finally let them rise to the surface. We all carry pains we never speak of. But remember, the pain you hide is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Let it speak, let it soften you, let it shape your future instead of stealing your present. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who might be hiding their own pain behind a smile. And don't forget to subscribe to Life Lesson Chapters for more peaceful, inspiring, and life-changing stories. Thank you for listening.